Damage over time queen is here. All hail Kafka. And if you're lucky, you already have her. But I bet you're building her wrong. So let's go over her traces, icons and relics. That Kafka is game-changing damage over time. You've probably heard this in so many different videos. But let me explain to you the root of all of this. Her skill, Caressing Moonlight, is the most impactful change for any DOT character. It offers a blast attack with lightning damage. But the key point is that if the opponent is already under damage over time, it will apply the damage again. Essentially, you will be increasing the instances when the damage over time is applied to your enemies. It is actually a buff for all your characters. Her ultimate, Twilight Trail, is a way to apply damage over time to all your enemies. It's an AoE that has a 100% base chance to apply shocked with a duration of 2 turns. Moreover, it triggers the shock damage and increases the lightning damage applied to those opponents. Another way to apply damage over time is with her talent. Whenever an ally performs a basic attack, Kafka does a follow-up attack that has a 100% base chance to apply shocked. It has the same effect as her ultimate. However, she can only use her follow-up attack once per turn. Considering her cat, it is clear that Kafka will consume a good amount of skill points, and her rotation should be something like this. Start the battle with her ultimate to apply the maximum damage over time among her enemies, apply her follow-up attack on opponents not affected by shocked, use her skill on opponents with damage over time to amplify the damage, and continue applying follow-ups and skills throughout the battle. Among her traces, you'll find attack and effect hit rate, which are extremely necessary for her, since her skill will scale purely with attack, and effect hit rate will help applying damage over time. Among her bonus abilities, you'll find Torture, that when she uses her ultimate, it applies the damage from all damage over time at that moment, not just from shocked. This way, it has a similar effect to her skill. Plunder, that when defeating an opponent with shocked, Kafka recovers 5 energy points. And Thorns, that increases the base chance to apply shocked by 30% for her ultimate, skill and follow-up attack. Your priority when investing in her traces should be skill, ultimate, talent, then basic attack. Her skill is the foundation of her kit and is crucial for amplifying her damage. After this, your priority should be her ultimate, which is essential to initiate her combo, but since it relies on her energy, it will be cast less frequently. Finally, her follow-up attack is important, but more limited, since it can only be cast once per turn. Her basic attack can be overlooked, as you should only use it when you have no skill points available. Before considering the best relics, let's think about the stats that we want on her. To begin with, there are 2 build options. One following the hyper carry standard, investing heavily in crit rate and crit damage. However, her kit doesn't fit well with crit, since it doesn't apply to damage over time. Your second option is focusing on damage over time build, which is the one I'll be using due to its better fit with her kit. In this case, your priority stats are elemental damage, attack percentage, effect hit rate, but only up to 28%, since it's enough to affect enemies with 40% resistance, speed, and break effect. Elemental damage exponentially increases your damage, even in damage over time. It is undoubtedly your main priority, followed by attack and effect hit rate, which are critical for scaling your skill and ultimate damage. Speed is the only way to apply your skill more frequently and amplify your overall damage over time. And finally, break effect will increase the damage when breaking your opponent's defenses. It's a nice to have, since you focus on breaking as many weaknesses as possible to amplify your damage over time. Therefore, you should aim for attack percentage on your body piece, speed on your boots, lightning damage on your planar sphere, and attack percentage on the link robe. You won't need effect hit rate in your main stats, but try to find it in the substats. Lastly, speed and break effect will always be useful as substats, as they will help enhance your damage. Because of this, your best relic is Band of Sizzling Thunder, which can be complemented with pieces of Musketeer of White Wheat and Messenger Traversing Hyperspace, depending on the stats you need. As for your ornaments, you can use either Space Healing Station or Talia Kingdom of Banditry. However, I prefer Space Healing Station due to being less dependent on performing Weaknesses Break to receive its benefit. For Lycone, you'll find so many options, but unlike the Lycones that we can use for Pillar or Silver Wolf, our focus will be more on improving our damage. For free-to-play players, your best option is Fermata, which offers a bit more break effect, but mainly more damage when fighting against opponents affected by lightning or wind damage over time. However, there is a better option called Good Night and Sleep Well. It provides an increase in damage for each debuff your opponents have, stacking up to 3 times. And in case you don't remember, damage over time time counts as a debuff too. Lastly, among the 5-star options, you have In the Name of the World, which offers an increase in damage and increase your effect hit rate and skill attack when using your skill. Nevertheless, Good Night and Sleep Well remains a better option, partly because it is easier to superimpose. The best in slot is undoubtedly Kafka's own Lycone. Patience is all you need. It boosts your damage, increases your speed with each attack, and also has a 100% base chance to apply Erode, which acts equal to Shocked and applies lightning damage at the beginning of each turn. Kafka already hits like a truck, but her Eidolons are capable of making her an unstoppable monster. Her E1 allows her follow-up attack to apply a debuff that increases the damage received from damage over time by 30%. Her E2 is disgustingly stronger, as it increases the damage from all damage over time applied by all of her allies by 25%. Her E3 and E5 increase her trace levels. Finally, her E4 and E6 aren't as potent as E1 and E2, but they still have great use. In her 4th Eidolon, you start gaining 2 energy whenever an enemy takes damage from Shocked status inflicted by Kafka. Her last Eidolon extends the duration of Shocked on the enemy target by 1 turn and increases the damage multiplier for her shock damage from her talent, technique, and ultimate. But let me reinforce that she doesn't need her Eidolons. But if you're looking to invest a bit more, focus only up to E2, since the rest will provide a low return. The compositions Kafka will use are the most unique you've ever built. To start off well, what Kafka needs the most is damage over time. She needs her opponents to constantly have a lot of the OT already applied so she can nuke them with her skill or ultimate. Because of this, it is important to have other characters constantly applying more damage over time and, if possible, regenerating skill points so Kafka can use her skills as much as she needs. You have 2 options: add 1 or 2 characters. One character will provide a bit of the OT but have some space remaining in the composition to play more safely. Adding 2 characters will apply so much damage that there won't be a space for your opponents to even think. In my opinion, your best option is to have 2 other damage over time dealers. Among your options are Sampo, Servo, Luca, and Hook. Sampo and Luca are your best options because they are less dependent on skill points, do more damage over time, and offer a wide range of elements that can make easier to break weaknesses. Tip: both of them are in Kafka's banner, so you have almost a complete team just by pulling for her. This leaves 1 slot remaining in your team. You have 2 options: look for support or healer. If you're adding a healer, you can use any of the options and they'll just fit well. But if you're looking for support to enhance your damage, be careful. Your standard support won't fit in this team. Yukong and Bronya, for example, offer a lot of crit rate and crit damage, which won't have any effect on damage over time. Xingyun can be used, but she will only amplify the damage of 1 character. Among buffers, your best option is Asta, who not only increases everyone's attack, but also offers more speed, which is critical for Kafka. However, your best option is to look for the buffers, who will have an effect for all your characters. Pillar and Silverwolf are perfect in this scenario. They also have different elements and help provide more coverage. That's it, guys. What do you think about Kafka? Leave in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe to receive more guides like this. Thank you and see you next time.
It's that time again to get busy with it. Best go